Hello and welcome to part 2 of creating outdoor scene with Blender 2.8. In part 1, we were working on the landscape, but in this part we are going to do some modeling, so it's going to be interesting like I said in part 1. So without wasting much time, let's just move on. Alright, so this is where we left off in part 1, but before we move to modeling, let's fix some stuff here before we go to the modeling part. So it's basically what we did in part 1, just moving things and smoothing it. We are going to add another guiding line, and we are going to use that as a guide for us to model the fence, to create the fence. All right, so it's going to be at the side, so it's looking good on top view but not in camera view, but it doesn't change anything because we are actually after the one in the top view. So you see what we are getting in the camera view and the top view. So it's best to stay with the top view, because at the end, so you just draw on the top view like we did in part 1. So we're still trying to get the lines right. Alright, so I just decided to model it, then later on I draw the line. So we just added a cube and scale it down, then I'm scaling it on the z-axis. Alright. So we are creating the small fence at the roadside, and we are going to use Q to do that. So this is my style of modeling. I don't really I haven't really followed a course or learn modeling from any tutorial. I just do things the way I think is easy and quick. So my way of modeling might be a little confusing for you guys, but I hope it's easy for you guys to follow along. And I won't be joining them because I don't want to go back to edit mode to make changes then come back to object mode most of the time. By just doing it like this, I can change any part I want anytime I want. So when I'm done with it, then I'm going to join them. So I'm going to duplicate it and try to add some variation to it. We will end up getting a lot of objects in our scene, but as we continue in the next part, we will eventually end up joining each other to decrease the number of objects in our scene. So again, duplicating it to create a little randomness. I haven't really follow a course or follow any tutorial on modeling during the time I was a beginner. I haven't even done that before, so I just do it. I actually learned the tools like extruding, subdividing, those types. So after learning them, the meaning of them or the use of them, I just started modeling. So trying to create some variations. I'm not showing the reference in this part because we will be using almost every part of the screen, so it will end up distracting me. So I have it opened on my other screen, and I used to take a look as I move on. So if you see me not moving the mouse, and that's when I'm actually taking a look at the reference to see whether everything is looking good. Right, so I thought of scaling them together, but each of them is having a different origin point, so it wasn't working. So I had to do it. So I had to scale them separately. So the road is curved a little, so I was trying to get that curve. So don't pick objects which are close to each other. Rather duplicate from objects which are a bit far away. And even after doing that, you can still add some small changes to it. So I was just taking a look at the reference to see whether everything is looking alright. That's why the mouse wasn't moving. Alright, so scaling them down, because I noticed they were a little big. Alright, so now you can see we are getting the curve now, and I'm using the grease pencil to draw this guiding line for me to arrange it. Right, so we are almost done with these guys. I like the way I've arranged them, and they are not looking bad. So I'm going to bring the camera view down here so that we don't get distracted in the main viewport we are using. You can see things are catching up. Cool. All right, so we are creating the bridge now, and we are using a cube, so we scale it down and scale it on the x-axis to make it something like a bar, and then we are going to use array to repeat it on the y-axis, which is 1.1 on the y-axis. So again, my style of modeling, I don't know whether it's what you people have been doing, but I hope it's something simple for you guys to follow along. Alright, so a little bit through the ground so that it creates the illusion that it's part of the ground. because I didn't want it to look like it's on top of the ground or it's placed there, but I wanted it to be part of the ground, so I intentionally made it go through the ground. So you can see it's big in the top view, but it's not that big in the camera view. So you can adjust your camera focal length to get something different. Alright, so I'm changing the focal length to guess something close to the reference. You can see these guys are floating, so let's fix it. let's get back to the bridge and continue what we are doing. Let's create another part of the bridge. So we are going to use a cube. Alright, so we are going to use the array again to create extra bar. So we are going to repeat it on the y-axis with the value 8. Alright, so let's increase the value to 10.6 and a little on the z. Because the bridge itself is not straight, so you have to make sure that these guys are following the way the bridge is placed on the ground. Alright, so we are going to add another array, and it will be at this side of the bridge. So like I said, we are going to end up getting a lot of objects in our scene, but we will later join all of them in the chapters ahead. Alright, so I just cleared the rotation of the bridge because I was having problem placing these guys on it. So now the bridge is straight now, so I have to fix the ground to work with the rotation of the bridge. All right, so I'm using the MT to get a better angle with the camera. So remember, we had an MT in part 1 to use as a lookout for the camera. Cool. So now things will be easy for us now. So I just duplicated the top face of the bar, and I'm using it to model a bar on top of the bridge. So you can see the other part just disappears. So alright, so I have separated it from the main object, and now alright, very quick and simple. So I've removed one of the arrays that was causing the problem. So like I said, this tutorial, it involves a lot of tricks, so you have to be ready for that. A lot of tricks to get things right. Alright, so we are going to create another part of the bridge. So we are using the same paths to create different parts of the bridge. Alright, so I will keep rotating around to see whether everything is looking alright. Alright, so we are adding another cube, and so this will be what will be holding the joints together in the reference. So alright, so select the bar as the mirror object so that it will mirror at the other side of the bar. So this is what we are getting now, and it's not bad, it's looking okay. I think I will delete this guy. Alright, so let's move to the next part. So we are going to use the same object, and then we are going to rotate it on the z-axis 180 and then move it backwards. And we are going to duplicate this one, rotate it z-axis 180. Remember to do it in edit mode, and then move that one to backwards. We just added another cube, and we are going to use this one to create another bar for the bridge. So again, we are going to create things separately, then later on join them together. Using the mirror modifier, it's now mirrored, but it's not at the right place, so let's try and fix that. Alright, so now it's at the right place. So you have to choose the bridge itself as the mirror object. Alright, so we just added another cube again, and obviously this is going to be a bar too. So it's already mirrored to the other side of the bridge. So we are duplicating it in the edit mode and we are moving it down. So another one. All right. And another one. Alright, so we just duplicated it, and this time it's going below the bridge. Alright, so we just duplicated the bar over there, and we are going to use it down here. So again, like I was trying to create an illusion that is part of the ground, not placed on top of the ground. And this what is the same thing that in the reference, so I wanted to do the same thing here. So I just duplicated it and I rotated it on the z-axis 180 degrees. Alright, so remember to save as you move on. So far so good, it's looking good. Alright, so we are making a little change to the landscape here. Alright, good. I took a little break, but we are back. Alright, so we are going to create the poles, the electricity poles you see, which is in the reference. So we are going to use a curve to create that one, because I thought that was very easy to using a curve is very easy to do that. So we are going to use a curve. So something like this is one reason I have the camera view at the other side, so that I will see what is going on inside the camera view, because things might look good in the viewport but not in the camera view. Alright, so we are going to bend it a little. So these are some of the options which made me think using a curve is easy, because we end up getting curvy styles without even adding subdivision modifier to it. Alright, so scaling it on the z-axis. Alright, so we are going to create the extra objects on top of the bar, on top of the pole, using a cube. So I keep looking in the camera view to see how things are looking. I was having problems selecting that face. Alright, so switch to normal and then move it. So normal is going to help you move it on the angle of the face. Alright, so let's duplicate it and rotate it on the z-axis, then move it to the other side. Switch to global, then move it on the x-axis. Alright, so normal wasn't working. Alright, so we are using mirror to fix that. Alright, so we have applied it and we are coming to make uh, changes to it in the edit mode. Alright, so we have added a circle and we are using it to create another object on the pole. I actually don't know the name of that thing. It's just a very simple object, extruding and scaling that we are through. So Alt M, then merge at center. So now we have the top part closed. Alright, so this is how it looks in the camera. So we are using the camera to get the camera view to get the correct scale of it. And it's not joined to the pole yet, because we are not done. We have to create about 4 versions of it. Alright, so we are going to duplicate. So duplicate and move it to the other side of the pole. So now we have converted the pole, which is the curve, into object now. So we are going to close the tape. Very simple and easy. We are going to add an empty, and we are going to make these objects follow the empty, like copy the scale, the rotation, and the location of the empty. So we are using the child of constraint to do that. So select the object, add the child of, and then use the empty as a target. After that, click clear inverse and set inverse to bring it back to the original position. So select the object, use the empty as the target, click clear inverse and set inverse to bring it back to the original location. So now when we move the empty, they will move along with the empty. When we scale the empty, they will scale along with the empty. Alright, so we are going to do all this. We are going to add the child off to all the parts of the pole. Alright, so we are going to join these guys and then add the child off to it. So child of target empty, clear, set, they are back. So now when you move the empty, you can see they are following along. Alright, so we are going to duplicate it multiple times, but remember to select the empty too. Alright, or the child of won't be working, so remember to select the empty too. Right, so we are bringing it to this side. Rotate it a little. Maybe. Yeah, rotate it a little. So after you duplicate it, then you select the empty to move it around. So we have 4 of them now. All right, so this is what we have now. So keep rotating around to see how things are looking. Not bad. All right, so I'm creating the wire from one pole to another to connect from one pole to another. You guys just see how I did it and just repeat it. So I just noticed that these spaces were deleted. I don't know why, so I guess I have to fix that. I'm sure yours is not deleted, but I don't know why mine is deleted. So we are back to the row. So I'm trying to connect the rope from, like, tie it around this object and then connect it from here to the other pole. So I won't talk much here. I'm just going to leave you guys to see how I did it, because the way I did it, I don't think there is an explanation for it. So you guys will just take a look and see how I did it. All right. Alright, so I've just made it a separate object now. For this one I can explain. Alright, so it's now a separate object. So alright, so I'm going to isolate these poles so that we don't get distracted by the things around. So after selecting them, you press the slash key and it will isolate them. Alright, so I will bring the cursor here, then I will duplicate this one. Alright, so I've placed the cursor there, so I'm going to duplicate this one, then move it to where the cursor is. So now the origin is at the center, so selection to cursor, and it's going to move to the place the cursor is. Alright, so this is how I'm going to place these small wires at each pole. Alright, so I'll move here. Alright, so I'll select these two guys here. So you can see what I just did. So I just selected the two vertices and I merged them to the center. So I selected the two edges, then I merged them so that you can see we have a straight line here. Alright, so we are going to do the same thing to the other pole. So we are going to copy this guy here and we are going to move to the next pole. So select and cursor to selected, then we go back to this wire and then we selection to cursor, shift S, then selection to cursor. So we select the edge here, then we select so make it a separate object, then shift S to where the cursor is. Right now it's working. So make it a separate object, then shift selection to cursor, then you join them again. Because place moving it to the cursor in the edit mode will join all the vertex. Alright, so we have just removed the child off, so we are going to convert this guy to a curve. Alright, so I just duplicated it and I'm going to hide it. I'm going to hide it because I might need it in the future. Alright, so I'm going to convert it to a curve. Object, convert curve from mesh. Alright, so now we have this. So now you can see what we are making. We have a simple wire connecting from one pole to another. So the next thing we will try and do is to bend it a little to create a little gravity effect in the middle. So some parts we're going through, we can fix that easily by just moving these parts. So it's not perfect, but since it's not since there won't be any closer shots of these wires, it will work okay for the scene. Alright, so that's what we have now, and it's not bad. You can see the wires are looking good. So let's work on the scaling. Alright, so we will subdivide these lines to create a break so that we can bend it. So subdivide. So now we have a break. So we have one here and we have one here. Alright, so let's subdivide this part too. Subdivide. So we will move it a little down to bend it a little. So I was expecting the curve to smooth it, but I wasn't getting that effect. So we had to do it ourselves by adding a subdivision. So I didn't know you could add a subdivision to a curve until until this part. So we first smoothed it, but it wasn't taking that much effect. So we are going to smooth every part. So you can see the wire is double because I duplicated it, so I will remove it soon. Alright, so let's hide this one. Alright, so I just added a subdivision to the curve, and it's now looking a little nice now. Alright, so now we are getting the bend look on the wires. Alright, so we are almost done with this part. Alright, so this is the end of the second part. I hope you learned something in the second part, and you shouldn't wait for weeks to get the next part because I always upload them together. So check the description for the link for the part 3 and go continue from the next part. Alright, so thanks for watching, and do subscribe if you haven't. Meet you in the next part.